Expedition Log, Day 44. My findings from the ruins included an odd script. I haven't been able to read it. Anexus idly mentioned a local library on the far side of town. They might have something to help decrypt it. Thankfully, I'm well enough now to at least travel there. Greetings, primates, and welcome back to Thespa. In last episode, we built up this wonderful windmill, the surrounding farmland, and this wonderful barn over here. Sadly, the barn isn't finished. There's hardly anyone in here. I mean, I've got sheep over here, but come on, a few sheep does not a barn make. We need cows, pigs, we need paddocks. We also need the rest of the farms that'll be going underneath here. As you can see, I've already cleared out some area, and hopefully that's enough to fit the kind of farms I want to fit in there. Also, Ruprect mentioned a library. We gotta get that going too. And I want to do some behind the scenes work in preparing for what Ruprect is actually going to find in the mines of Nerrex. Which means we have to have the mines of Nerrex first. I don't know about you primates, but digging a giant hole is not fun. Particularly without instant mining. That's what this is for. This is pretty much everything I'll need to start a wither skeleton farm. Which means I'm going to be getting tons and tons of wither skeleton skulls. In other words, tons and tons of beacons, which makes mining 10 times easier. However, one key ingredient I'm missing is carpet. I need a lot more carpet than this. Which means I got to get started on a wool farm. Well, it seems like my initial estimates were off, but I've gathered up everything I need to for this farm. I've cleared up as much space as I need, so let's get to work. Well, primates, here's how to build a fairly simple wool farm in Minecraft. I'm building 16 of them because there are 16 colors of wool in the game, and I'm a collector, but you really only need to make one of these, and one of them consists of just really one 3x3 area. First off, you need your hopper and some sort of collection system. You're going to place that down and put a rail on top of it. And you're going to put a hopper minecart on top of that block and break the rail. The rail should go into your hopper, and so that way you can pick it back up. How this works is a sheep is going to be standing right on top of this minecart. As you can see, I've got pistons here. Here's what these are for. Oh my gosh, the minecart disappeared! It's actually right inside the block. Now, if I drop a block on top of that minecart hopper, it goes down and appears into here. So I'm going to have sheep standing right here. And one of the neat things about Minecraft is if you're not careful, you can block yourself in. You can shear sheep with a dispenser. So that's what we're going to do. We get a dispenser, and it's going to shear our sheep for us. Now, we have to know when the sheep are ready to shear. That's what our observer is for. Our observer will detect when this block gets turned into dirt. That will cause this dispenser to fire, shearing our sheep. Now you might be thinking, what does grass turning into dirt have to do with sheep and wool? Well, one of the mechanics in Minecraft is that sheep regrow their wool by eating grass. And when they eat grass, it turns into dirt. So when this block turns into dirt, that means the sheep standing in this cell ate it and now has wool. So it's ready to be sheared. So we shear it. And it will fire a second time when the block converts back into grass. That's what all this grass is for. But you can't shear a sheep that's already been sheared. Let's see how many times I can have an S sound in a sentence. It's ridiculous. And honestly, that's pretty much it. All I need to do now is get a sheep in there, and I'm good. So I'm going to get all the rest of these built up, and I'm going to have some fun. You might notice a slight issue. Yes, these dispensers will shear the sheep, but they will only shear the sheep if the sheep are standing in front of the shears. And that isn't going to happen unless we keep them there. So what do? We make glass boxes for them to live in for the rest of their lives. So that's what I'm going to do. Each sheep will have its 1x1 cell that it can live in and be there for the rest of its miserable life. Don't tell PETA. Alrighty, we're almost done. I need to be able to access all of these wonderful dispensers to put shears into. And that's very hard to do. Luckily, we can use the same little trick we used down here with the hopper minecarts right here. And boop. And now, anything that goes on top of that will go in. Does it not go in? Ugh. I just realized I had that on. Duh. No! No! Travesty primates. I thought I could use the same trick I used with our wonderful items going through blocks scenario. I do this, I drop the glass there, and it doesn't go in. Do hopper minecarts not fill dispensers? What? I gotta go back to the drawing board on this. I did a quick look up. Turns out hopper minecarts cannot put items into containers like these dispensers. Only hoppers can do that, which means my idea of using hopper minecarts to put shears into these dispensers won't work. I'm gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way, by hand. Oh well. Anyway, with that sad news, we're actually done with the farm then. This is everything we need. All we need to do now is put the shears in the dispensers and get the sheep in there. Now comes the fun part. Moving the sheep. I have found that it's easiest to move mobs using minecarts and rails. So that's what I'm gonna do. The farm is done. It has sheep. And they've been sheared quite a lot. And I've got a lot of wool already. This is great. I'm loving it. And to top it all off, we now have all the carpet we need for my wither skeleton farm. So let's get started on that. I've done some exploring off camera and found, I think, the best location I can for this wither skeleton farm. It's just right down here. Right down. Oh, the tree's in the way. Right down there is a very good place for a wither skeleton farm. It's fairly isolated, and what makes this such a good spot is it's inside a warped forest, and the bits of crimson forest that are inside are fairly small and fairly easy to prevent other mobs from spawning in. Because the less mobs that spawn outside my farm, the more mobs spawn inside my farm, which means the more mobs that I kill, and therefore the more skulls I get. So I've got a lot of work mob-proofing this area. There's no point in putting it off. Well, primates, this might look a little different. There's lots of buttons here. Over 20,000 buttons. Had I used that crossroads instead of this crossroads, it could have been more. After all that hard work, it's time to get to work a little bit more what I was meaning to get done. The actual farm itself. Well, primates, the farm is done. And to give you a good view of it, I'm just going to quickly pop over into spectator mode so that way I don't anger any bad things that have been spawned on here. Look at it in its beauty. This design is a design I found on a Logical Geek Boy video, and it is really cool. I've only been using it for a couple hours, to be honest, and I've already got quite a few numbers of wither skulls. I got 20. This is great. Anyways, it's fairly simple how this farm works. Mobs spawn up there. What? Did that just happen, primates? Okay. As I was saying, mobs spawn up there. And since we want the wither skeletons, we lure the wither skeletons into this drop shaft using a piglin, because apparently wither skeletons hate piglins. I actually didn't know that. And any other mobs that spawn up there get brought over to these cacti, where they die. Logical Geek Boy goes into a little bit more as to the mechanics of the farm and how that all works. So if you want to understand that, I would recommend watching his video on it. That aside, I'm going to be AFK for just a little bit longer, so that way I can get more wither skeleton skulls. Well, primates, we have got 30 wither skeleton skulls. That's a lot! We'll be taking on the wither once again in some time, but I have some work that needs to be done, and namely, I have a library to build. Good thing I've already set up what needs to be done, because this is gonna be fun. And here it is, primates. We actually had enough copper to finish the roof. I know, it's amazing. I think this is the first time something like this has happened. It's not quite done just yet. I still have most of the interior to do. I gotta do some resource gathering, and sadly, I don't have enough time to gather up all these things and get everything out. But we have a library! This is great! I'm planning on moving in some librarians. I actually already have a couple over here, all ready to go in. Currently, they're just bobbing around in the... Well... Hi, guys. How you doing? I wish you had trades. But you don't. But boy, have we done a lot with this episode. Now, I would like to address the elephant in the room. As of recording this, Minecraft 1.18 Caves and Cliffs Part 2 just released. Now, my plan for this world didn't include 1.18, so I've been thinking about what I would like to do. I could just leave it alone and just reload in all the new terrain just around the area. I haven't gone that far, so I wouldn't need to go that far to get any of the new terrain generation. Or I could trim off some chunks and essentially just have this area be the way that it normally would be. And see what would have happened had this world been generated in 1.18. I've toyed around with trimming some of the chunks, and to be honest, where I'm standing would have been an ocean. Hi. Now, I wasn't planning on deleting any of these chunks to begin with, because, I mean, look at all the hard work we've done. But I was curious to see what Nerrex would look like. I've had some thoughts, and Nerrex would have been right here. Right in this little crevice. So naturally, I was curious, what would this area look like in 1.18? More ocean. So yeah, this part is staying the same, because Nerrex was literally the reason of setting up Woodstone where I did. However, one really cool thing that I noticed is over here by my witch farm. As you can see, this witch farm is in a lovely little swamp, surrounded by dark forests and mountains. However, where I'm currently standing would be an ocean in 1.18. Not just an ocean monument. So yes, at least this chunk will be deleted and reset, because ocean monument this close to my base? Yes, please! As for the rest of the world, to be honest, I'm unsure. I'm tempted just to delete everything except where I've built, or where I'm planning to build, but we'll see. As of right now, I'm not going to be updating for quite some time, as I use Fabric and Optifine just to make things a little bit smoother, and my replay mod for all the wonderful time lapses. I kind of want to keep those, so I'm going to wait to see when that's updated. Plus, I've got some other things that I want to start working on, namely a redstone tutorial series, and I'm actually going to be joining an SMP over the holidays. Anyways, that's going to be it. If you enjoyed the episode, please leave a like, subscribe to stay up to date, and let me know, what do you think? Should I update this world to 1.18? Or should I just leave it 1.17? I'm okay with either. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been RU Prime, and I'll see you next time.